Pilates was created by Joseph Pilates for World War II vets who wanted to work on strength and mobility without the ability to stand or walk. And I said,
Mhm.
holy shit, I wonder how different that will be, knowing this was created for people with
Yep.
limitations, with
Yep.
a different ability. And I went to my first class and my body remembered what it's like to
Mhm.
move my body in a way that feels challenging, that
Mhm.
a way that feels rewarding at the same time. Like afterwards, I had that that body soreness that I was like, I have missed this so much. And so then I became a Pilates girly, and what I would probably say now is like a Pilates cult, like MLM leader, because the amount of people I'm like, have you done Pilates on the reformer?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
try to get people to do it all the time.
Yeah, it's amazing like when you find the thing that like works for you in your body.
Yeah.
Like there's like a coming home sort of feeling to that. Like, oh, right, I can be with my body in this experience as opposed to maybe like I know for myself, some of the like running. Like I'm not someone who enjoys running. I never
No.
understood. People would talk about the runner's high and I'm like, you mean the moment you're done and you're relieved? Is that what you mean? Because like I don't feel a runner's high. That
Right.
felt like me abandoning my body. But
Yeah.
Pilates to me feels like coming home. Like even on the days I don't want to go, it's like, which isn't very often. It's rarely like, oh, my body's telling me I shouldn't do this today. But when it does tell me that, because I'm listening, I'm asking, I'm being curious, I listen to it. And I'm like, okay, well, today's not a day for it. And
Yeah.
that's totally fine.
Welcome to the Body Grievers Club. Hi, friend. I am your host, Bri Campos from Body Image with Bri. I am a fat positive body image coach, educator, and trained mental health counselor. My goal is to help you stop hating your body and learn how to move through unavoidable body grief. This won't be your average body image advice. No affirmations, no fluff, no filter. I am prepared to say the quiet parts out loud. And no matter how overwhelming or hopeless your body image feels, you belong here. Welcome to the Body Grievers Club. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Body Grievers Club. Today's guest is going to introduce themselves as usual. I'm so excited to talk to my friend and Instagram buddy, Danica. We have bonded over many things, including being providers, hosting retreats, and most recently, and what this episode is going to be about, is our love for Pilates. So, Danica, introduce yourself to the podcast. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and to talk about this topic in particular. Yeah, I'm Danica Harris. I was classically trained as a counseling psychologist, and since graduating and opening a group practice, I have personally transitioned into more somatic coaching. So I'm a somatic experiencing practitioner and do somatic coaching work. Body-based healing is how you might think about that. But I also co-own a group therapy practice in Dallas, and it's a trauma-informed private practice where a variety of different modalities are utilized: EMDR, somatic experiencing, IFS, but it's very trauma informed. We meet people where they're at. We have 20 clinicians now.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's one piece of my work. And then the other piece is, like I said, somatic coaching, retreats, intensives, mentorship for therapists, that sort of thing.
Fantastic. I'm like my brain is going wild. I'm like, ooh, I need to bring you into the community because one of the things I talk a lot about with like body image healing is how much of the healing is not cognitive, behavioral, right? It's not just learning this skill set and being like, ah, okay, I believe differently now, but it is feeling differently. It is the experiencing in your body that like,
Yep.
hey, yeah, you might not feel safe right now, but that might not actually be a true experience. And how do we offer
Yes.
that corrective experience?
Yes, that's so real. Like what's happening internally and what's happening externally may not be in alignment. And that's so
Yeah.
common when we've experienced trauma, particularly body-based trauma, which like arguably isn't at all body-based, but
Correct. Yeah. And so speaking as somebody who's, exists in a super fat body, I have been healing my relationship to my body image, and that included my relationship to movement. For me, healing my relationship to movement was pinnacle to
hmm
that body-based healing experience. Would you say similar for you? Like, what's your experience been like?
Yeah, I think it's like so in tandem, right? So I think like both my experience of myself as like an energetic being, a
Mm,
relational being, an emotional being, and my experience of myself as like a body and entity. Those two relationships really like intertwined and ebbed and flowed together. And certainly, I think I got to a point a number of years ago where it was like, well, I have to be nicer to myself. And it's like I knew that from like the self-criticism and the perfectionism and in those pieces. It's like I was really self-critical and really harsh. And so I knew I needed to lighten up on those pieces. And like while doing that, or maybe like accidentally at the same time, I figured out, oh, I also have to ease up on my body and I need to talk to my body
mm.
differently too. And in some ways, that was harder. And also, I mean, maybe I should say in many ways, that part was harder because I am a fat person. And so I wasn't always a fat person. So I've been in a fat body, I would say about a decade, give or take a couple years. And I think that especially when my body changed to a degree that I was like no longer, and I'm like using air quotes here, like acceptable,
Right.
this
Societally
body,
acceptable.
yeah, societally acceptable. I think that that became like tough. Like, how am I nice to me when I'm rejected elsewhere, you know? So it was like that
Mm.
internal experience with my body became like primary, dominant, most important.
So this is so interesting and a little bit of a tangent. I feel like I don't get to interact with a lot of people who were not like forever fats, right?
Mm.
So can you tell us a little bit about like the transition of going from a body that is societally acceptable, probably having privilege, to then not? And you can use like
Yeah.
from the framework of my like body grief, like what was that experience like?
So much grief.
Mm,
So much grief. And like really having to reconcile parts of my past self that I didn't like on this side, right? Like on this side, looking back. I wouldn't have told you I had privilege. I didn't think I did. And of course. That was influenced by, and I was never like in a small body that like everyone would say was small, right? Like I was like in a mid, like what we're now calling like more of a mid-sized body, which I don't really love that terminology, but
so like what quote unquote privileges did like could you shop in
I could
store?
shop in almost any
Yeah,
store.
yeah,
Yeah. Like I
yeah.
probably couldn't shop in like, you know, a juniors type of store as an adult, but I mean, I could shop pretty much anywhere. I could sit comfortably in any chair. You know, some of the things that I took for granted, right? Like
Yeah.
I wasn't afraid to like sit in an airplane seat and be judged. And, you know, I
Mhm.
was like uncomfortable, which is not the same as like I don't fit. I need a seatbelt extender. Someone might judge me, right? So very different lived experience. But I definitely, I mean, I struggled with an eating disorder for a really long time and had really unfortunate views of my body. I was very, again, very self-critical, very rejecting. And so I think because I was at such war with my body, I didn't see the privilege I had. I just always was like
Mm.
chasing smaller.
Yeah.
And then one day I no longer did that. And then my body shifted and changed. And now like pretty quickly I became plus size. I like started living in a fat body. And I had to really grieve, like, wow, like I wasted all those years hating myself and hating my body when like I could have just been existing.
I feel like that is such a familiar story. I feel like even for myself, like I've always been in what I would say is like a larger body, but now when I look back, I'm like, I really wasn't that fat. Like I was maybe like bigger than the other people in my life, but I wasn't fat. And two, similarly, I didn't recognize privilege. And I think that's the point
Mhm.
of it, right? Is privilege is not something that you notice, I think, necessarily until it's gone.
Yeah.
Or somebody else can point it out to you like, oh, that's something that's not accessible to me.
Yep.
And so I mean, I would just automatically shop at Torrid because I was so afraid to go to a store and not fit into a size and then feel shame. So it's like I just didn't even entertain the thought. I also used to just like as soon as clothes would fit my body, I would just buy them. And then I'd have this closet full of clothes that
Oh,
I don't
same.
didn't really like. But from a scarcity place of like, I have to
Yep.
keep these clothes because they fit.
Yep. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's very relatable for sure.
Yeah. And then the piece too about like talking to yourself. I just did like Instagram stories on this the other day where I was like, I realized the way that I was talking to myself about my body is no different than the way that the people I criticize for shaming people are talking about my body. And so it was like, I have to talk to myself differently
Yep.
if I want to change, because clearly shame has not worked. And
Right.
that actually translated a lot into my movement journey. So in my story, right, like I was, healing my relationship to my body image, then the pandemic hit, and then my movement and mobility started changing. And I felt like I hit this new level of body grief that I'd never experienced
Mm.
before. And I was like, this is the time to be able to apply the same shit that I'm teaching other people to do to
Yep.
myself. And I can say, gratefully that now 6 years later, I am not where I once was, but so many things are different. And I
Hmm.
had to be willing to be uncomfortable
Yep.
and tolerate that discomfort to be able to get to this place where I can say wholly and fervently that I have healed my relationship to movement.
Mm. I love that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
what about you?
similarly, like so I was a dancer as a kid. So I danced for a really long
Oh,
time, 15 years.
oh,
Yeah, so you can imagine
that's
the
another grief.
culture, yeah, and the
Oh,
environment I grew up in. And of course, like that was part of also why I didn't feel or understand that I had privilege, right? Because by comparison to the folks I was dancing with and the
yeah.
messages I was receiving there,
Yeah.
I wasn't like as small, right? I was in a larger body in that environment, which was not the same as living in a larger body.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely was someone who really enjoyed movement. I went to the gym a lot. And I would say like it for the most part, it was coming from a place of like, this supports my mental health. My body feels stronger when I do this. I
Yeah.
definitely had a period of time when I reflect back, like when I was in graduate school, I was 100% using movement to cope with high distress. And even though the origin, the intention wasn't let me shrink my body, I was absolutely punishing myself with movement. So it was coming from a different place, right? It was like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna run this out. I'm gonna lift heavy. I'm gonna work out 6 days a week. When I think back on that, I'm like, wait, I went to graduate school, I worked out 6 days a week. I got up at like 5 a.m. to do these workouts. I,
Yeah.
like I think back on that and I'm like, no wonder I was like in high activation, high chronic stress all the time because I
Wow.
wasn't allowing my body to rest. So I was absolutely
Yeah.
in an unhealthy relationship with movement at that time.
I used movement like as medication, like to
Mm,
manage anxiety. And I was like, I have to go to the gym because otherwise, like, I'm just going to have all of this anxious energy, not realizing, hey, girl, probably means you need some anxiety meds.
yeah.
And unmanaged ADHD, which
Hmm.
like I was like, wow, I always seem to focus better. So it's like I could see all the benefits of movement. And so then despite if I was tired or the shame I would feel if I missed a workout or whatever, it was like, yeah, but this is really the motivation. It's because I know that I'll feel better after I
Hmm.
go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like whatever story we have to tell ourselves to like justify the behavior we're doing, right? And I was absolutely doing that. I was like, oh, I feel better when I work out like this. Well, I mean, maybe I feel slightly less anxious, but I wasn't feeling better, and
Yeah.
I ached all the time. So I'm definitely someone
Yeah.
who lives with chronic health and chronic pain
Yes.
conditions, and I was just like really probably injuring my body all the time, and was so used to being uncomfortable that it like didn't phase me that I was aching all the time.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I think back to it too. And I was like, I would be so proud, like when I couldn't walk upstairs afterwards.
Oh
Or if
yeah.
I and like or and this is when I started realizing like maybe this movement isn't so quote unquote great. I would walk into the gym and I'd be like, I would say to my trainer, I'm like, I can't lift my arms to put my hair up. That's how tight my
Wow.
body is. And so then she'd have me do like a couple of stretches and then I could do it. And I was like, wow, like I was just abusing my body so
Hmm.
hard in
Hmm.
the name of quote unquote health. And it's like
Yep.
to not be able to put my hands above my head to like put my hair up. I was like, yeah,
Right.
this is not good.
Yeah, exactly.
So bring us through like so we're going to talk today a little bit about our love for Pilates. How did you find Pilates?
Well, like you had mentioned about like the pandemic kind of shifting your relationship with movement, that happened for me too. So I quit going. So
Mhm.
I've really like been someone who worked out a pretty significant amount throughout my life. Pandemic hit, quit going to public places for a really long time. I had been doing Orange Theory before that. So I was like, running, rowing, heavy lifting, high intensity stuff. That kind of I would say like came to like a crashing halt.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, now what? And I knew
Mhm.
things to do at home, but it was like I had this internal resistance that I now think was like some sort of knowing But
Mm.
it was like I couldn't make myself. And I've got some workout equipment at the house, and it's like I would walk past the treadmill, I would walk past the free weights, and I would just be like, no. And I
Mm.
don't know how much of that was like, I don't want to do this, so I'm not going to, or how much of it was like my body being like, living through a global pandemic and being a therapist to 20 clients a week, and also like, teaching and running a practice, like maybe moving
Yeah.
your body, expending more energy isn't the right thing to do. So really for
Wow.
like, I would say so like from 2020 to 2023, I had very minimal movement. I think
Mhm.
walking is like, and I'm very like I would go on like one walk maybe every other week. Like I wasn't moving much. And I
Mm.
didn't like that, but it's like I think I didn't like it, but I had to like look at the relationship I was having with movement, and I felt all this grief come up of like, oh, is it that I want to move, or is it that I think I should? And I had to sit with that. And what I really recognized was a lot of what motivates the way I move my body is this idea of how I should move that's been
Mm.
lifelong, like that I've had for, I think at that point, 35 years. Like I had just spent my whole life moving in a very particular way and having ideas about how much I needed to move. So
Yeah.
since 2024, I would say I've kind of been on this like exploration of like, what do I like to do?
Yeah.
And I've come to understand my body and its like mobility issues. I'm hypermobile. I've got some physical things that I deal with that like I need to be thoughtful of when I'm moving. And I'm in my, I'm almost 43, so I need to treat my body as it actually exists. And as it exists, I experience chronic pain. Getting
Mm.
older, all that. So I just started like getting really curious about what are some things I haven't done for movement. And I happened to read, and you and I have chatted about this before, but I happened to read that Pilates was originally designed for folks with disabilities.
Yes.
And that just like lit something up in me. I was like,
Yep.
oh, could could I easily do this? And when I say easy, I don't mean like Pilates is easy, but like would it be a lower barrier to entry?
Mm.
Like could I make myself do this? And there I just happened to live 5 minutes from a Pilates studio.
Wow.
So it was like, okay, well, go try a class. And I did. And I mean, I could have cried walking out of that class. Like it was an intro class. It was just like 35 minutes of like kind of teaching us, here's what a normal Pilates class would look like. And
Yeah.
I walked out of there and I was like, I feel hopeful. My
Mm.
body feels okay. It felt like such a personal journey, even though it was like in a group space. Like I was just like, I'm on my reformer, I'm at my springboard. Like I didn't feel like people were like looking or comparing. And the studio that I go to, you write your name on the board, and then underneath it, you write whatever physical, like however
Mm.
you think about it, physical limitations or like modifications you might need or anything like that. And it's a class full of that. Every time I go, people are like, oh, left knee issue, or like mobility stuff, or like osteo, or you know what I mean? It's like, so it feels very affirming, and like the environment welcomes diversity of body and body capabilities. And so I just feel very at home in that space.
I love that. And our stories are so similar. I think similarly in the pandemic, like I just lost all of the mobility that I had conditioned my body to have. And
Yeah.
it was very fast. Like it was maybe like 2 or 3 weeks of being like, I don't want to fucking do these online workouts. Like I'm so over
Mhm.
this. And then being like, oh my gosh, like I can't stand in my kitchen for more than 10 minutes without my low back hurting or my shoulders are hurting. Never once putting together, hey girl, maybe you're doing a lot of virtual calls back to back that you're not used to doing. Because before that, I did in home therapy and virtual calls, but now everything was virtual
Yep.
and not recognizing the hardship it was having on my body, but still uncomfortable with pain in my body, right? Still interpreting pain as something as like I'm doing something wrong or this is punishment for me not moving my body. And actually, I have an episode on my podcast, Body Pain is Not Punishment. We'll link that in the show notes where I started going to PT because I had lost some really functional movement and I was so ashamed. And I was like, I'm fucking body image with Bri. How can I feel shame about my body and also still show up online? And so I really tried to be honest with people as I was, going through it. But I remember I had this moment of like reckoning of is my body bad if these mobility issues don't change? And I had to reckon that I still felt like, yeah, my body is bad if it is not a mobile body, if it is not a strong body, if it is not an abled body, and didn't realize how much of that was rooted in my own internalized ableism. And so I had to give myself what I call like sexy unconditional permission to
Uh-huh.
not move. Because what was happening too is like, right, seeing 20 people a week. It was probably more than that. I didn't count, right? Like I was like, I don't want to count because then it'll make me feel bad. No, I didn't count because I was so anxious. I'd get to the end of the day and I'd sit on my couch and be like, I should move my body. I should move my body. But why can't I move? I'm going to keep watching reruns of The Office, but I can't move my body. Not realizing, oh, wow, I was burnt out and
Right.
that I needed to heal my relationship to rest before
Yes.
I could even begin to heal my relationship
Yes.
to movement.
Oh my gosh, that is such a good point. And yes, same. I had to
Yeah.
be okay with slowing down.
And I have an episode on that called Rest is Unsafe, where I like hot seat coach
Mhm.
myself live of why is it that when I say, okay, well, if I really want to move my body, then I need to slow down and do less work. And then that makes me anxious. I was like, that's probably something I need to explore. And so I had to get comfy with being uncomfy about
Right.
resting.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like, and I know for myself, like just growing up in an environment where like I experienced trauma and there was lots of scarcity. I grew up working class, so like there was a lot of scarcity stuff in my
Yeah.
upbringing. I think that I just like ran on urgency, and I did,
Yeah.
even when I like thought I wasn't, I still was because it was
Yeah.
like I had this story about myself, like, oh, I'm just someone who doesn't like to sit down much.
Yeah.
I'm just someone
Yeah.
who doesn't like to rest. It's
I
like,
just like to do, no.
what? Who doesn't like to rest? And like, Danica, hello, that's a problem. Like, you need to
Right.
sit down and get okay with sitting and get okay with resting and get okay with like, from this place of rest, I can make choice about what's best for my body. I cannot make choice about what's best for my body when I'm running on urgency.
Abso-fucking-lutely. And I would say for me, my undiagnosed ADHD also made that harder because of the executive functioning.
Yeah.
So I would be like, I don't know why I can't do my notes or why I can't do a load of laundry. And like now I'm like, oh, because you didn't listen to your body at all.
Right.
And when you were trying to do these tasks, you were probably already burnt out. And then on top of it was the executive functioning.
Yep.
And so like just recently, like I'm trying to spring clean out my pantry. And at the end of the day, I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to happen. I have to wait till I have a morning off when I take my Adderall so that I can actually get part of this task done because otherwise I'm going to stand here and this is going to take forever. And so, getting properly medicated, getting properly diagnosed, unlearning belief systems around, my mobility and my ability,
Hmm.
detaching that, also needing to uncouple and unlearn stories about worthiness and productivity.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so like working less, that like I'm worthy of not having to work, 20 hours. And it's funny now because I'm like, I need a little motivation. And my team is like, we should probably like, market a little harder. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm like not burned out for the first time in 6 years. And I'm like, I'm riding this as long as I can. And so I had my sort of my intro into movement was yoga, was stretching and allowing myself to be in my body and realizing like, wow, I have limitations, but I'm not judging myself now for these same limitations that maybe I would have years ago. And I love yoga. Yoga was
Mhm.
great. Yin yoga is probably one of my favorite.
Yeah, oh, same. Yep.
I love restore. I just did a restorative class the other day, and it was my body always feels good, but I was recognizing like I still don't have strength or endurance, and I was like, well, I would be curious if I were to do anything to work on the strength, and I had given myself. In a very ADHD way, I like marked out my calendar of like, here are the possible classes of movement that I could possibly go to, of all these different things. And what was happening is I'd get to that day and I'd be like, oh my God, I have to make a decision on what I have to do. And I don't know what to do. So I was like, I think I just need to pick. I just need to pick something and commit to it so that it
Uh-huh.
takes the guesswork out. And then, do you remember on TikTok when that like thing went viral of the person saying fat people shouldn't be in a in a Pilates class? Fat people
Yes.
shouldn't be in a Pilates class, and fat people shouldn't be an instructor for Pilates class. And I was like, fuck, now I'm gonna have to go do Pilates. I was like, because
Challenge
I'm a
accepted.
fucking Scorpio, and I'm like, okay, bet. And Imani Blair,
Uh-huh.
I think, or Crutches and Spice. I forgot. I don't know if that's their, I think it's Amani Blair, but Crutches and Spice, they're the person I learned all things disability from. And they were the first person to share that Pilates was created by Joseph Pilates for World War II vets who wanted to work on strength and mobility without the ability to stand or walk. And I said,
Mhm.
holy shit, I wonder how different that will be, knowing this was created for people with
Yep.
limitations, with
Yep.
a different ability. And I went to my first class and my body remembered what it's like to
Mm.
move my body in a way that feels challenging, that
Mhm.
a way that feels rewarding at the same time. Like afterwards, I had that that body soreness that I was like, I have missed this so much. And so then I became a Pilates girly. And what I would probably say now is like a Pilates cult, like MLM leader. Because the amount of people I'm like, have you done Pilates on the reformer?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
try to get people to do it all the time.
Yeah, it's amazing like when you find the thing that like works for you in your body.
Yeah.
Like there's like a coming home sort of feeling to that. Like, oh, right, I can be with my body in this experience as opposed to maybe like I know for myself, some of the like running. Like I'm not someone who enjoys running. I never
No.
understood. People would talk about the runner's high and I'm like, you mean the moment you're done and you're relieved? Is that what you mean? Because like I don't feel a runner's high. And I don't think running was ever good for my body, but I pushed myself and I did it and it's like I would convince myself it's what I must do and so I just like never questioned it, you know? That
Right.
felt like me abandoning my body. But
Yeah.
Pilates to me feels like coming home. Like even on the days I don't want to go, it's like, which isn't very often. It's not often. Like I actually like desire to go. I want to go, which is like very telling to me. But on the
Yes.
days where I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm hesitant it's like I'm able to be in this conversation with myself. Like, is it because you're busy and you're like wanting to stay focused on work? Is that why you don't want to go do the thing that's good for you? And that's almost always the case. I'm like, oh, I don't
Mhm.
want to stop in the middle of my day, or, oh, I want to just dive into work in the morning. It's rarely like, oh, my body's telling me I shouldn't do this today. But when it does tell me that, because I'm listening, I'm asking, I'm being curious, I listen to it, and I'm like, okay, well, today's not a day for it. And
Yeah.
that's totally fine. But it's like I remove, because of the, like you're saying, strengthening the relationship with rest.
Yeah.
It's like I removed all these like very rigid expectations around movement, around like I have to do it this many times a week and in this way. And I need to, at one point I was like tracking my calorie burn and bullshit like that. Like now I'm just like, what
Yeah.
feels good to my body? What class do I want to go to?
Yep.
What time do I want to go? How many times do I want to go this week? That could be different than next week, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's the other piece of this that's so organic for me is like if I was supposed to go today and I was like, you know what? I have a full day today and I have a client like it would be after the class and I'm like, I feel like that is not kind for me. Like I feel
Mm,
like if I keep this class, I'm gonna feel it's gonna be really hard to get back in to like coaching after taking that break. And so I canceled and in a prior time I would have done it anyway because I was supposed to. And so
right.
I'm like, you know what? I still got to finish my pantry. I can stretch. There's so many things that I can do to meet my body where it's at. And also, there are so many opportunities left in the week for me to be able to go. And the thing that I love, I think, the most about Pilates and being in the place where I'm at with my relationship with my body and movement is I can see inability as opportunity for
Mhm.
exploration,
Yep.
not evidence of failure.
Yes. Well, even the like what you said a minute ago about like, there's still more opportunities in the week for me to go. It's like you're allowing this flexibility to exist for yourself. Like,
Yeah.
just even that permission. I think it's breaking that sense of urgency in our system. It's like I have to go today because today's a day that I said I was going to go. It's like, well, whoa, let's like slow that down and like could I go a different day? Is that an option?
Yeah.
Or do I just go less this week? I think it's like slowing down enough to really be with yourself and remember that, like, not, it's the same stuff that happens for people with an eating disorder. It's like not every single thing you put into your body food wise, it is critical. It's like sometimes
Yeah.
you just eat the thing that's easy or convenient, or sometimes you just, eat the thing that you maybe don't really want to eat, but you have prepared. It's like we have to do stuff all the time that's just like, well, my body needs nourishment, so I'm going to eat something, right? So my body needs movement in some way, shape, or form. I don't have to do it right now in this very second. I can look at myself as a consistent, ongoing person with an ongoing experience. And like going to Pilates on a Thursday rather than a Wednesday is okay and actually
Yeah.
means nothing.
And I said this to you. I don't know if I said this while we were recording, but like, I am a person who will boldly say that I hate walking. I think it is boring. It does, like, sure, maybe being outside, but like, it's almost like an avocado to me where I'm like, it's very rare when it's like just right, where I'm like, I'm not sweaty or hot or uncomfortable or like something gets, and so like, if somebody were to be like, oh, we should go for a walk, my entire body is like, no, I don't want to go for a walk. But when I say, oh, I want to go to a Pilates class, I feel it differently in my body. So
Mm.
allowing myself to like and dislike certain movement, that we don't have to like all forms of movement. And that's not like a fat person thing. My one of my fat friends was like, hey, it's gonna be really nice this weekend. Do you want to go for a walk? And my automatic response was like, ooh, no thanks. I'll sit in my
Mm.
hammock. You can go for a walk. I'll be here when you get back. The other thing with Pilates specifically that I know we've talked a little bit about is it is the first movement that I've ever engaged in where I can recognize almost like an immediate difference
Mm-hmm.
in the way that I move my body afterwards.
100% agree.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with that?
Yeah, the thing that I would say that I noticed right away, even after just like a first, like maybe not the very first class or two, but like within like a couple of weeks of
Yeah.
going, I started feeling like, oh, my body is in like different alignment and my joints don't feel like loosey goosey, like
Yes.
and I had never felt like that when I was younger, but probably from overexercise,
Yeah.
not being kind to my body with food, those sorts of things.
Maybe
I
the
think
hypermobility too.
Ooh, and hypermobility for sure. I think I had gotten to this place where I was like, oh, I feel kind of rickety in my body. And I had always been someone who like felt strong. So I had an
Mm,
embodied sense of strength. And then
yeah.
it started to feel like, oh, I'm like almost feeling fragile in my body. And not from a place of
Mm,
judgment, like actually from a place of fear. Like I was like,
wow.
am I going to be at risk for like an injury or, something
Yeah.
like that? So I really think like with Pilates, I started to feel pretty quickly this like shift back into my body where I was like, oh, I actually feel like I exist. All of me exists. I'm in more alignment. Things are connecting better and differently. And now I would say I feel that after every single class. Like I walk out and I'm like, oh yeah, actually my body just feels like it exists now. Like all part of me is like back in alignment.
I so agree with that. And like I would say like right in the beginning, like even after my first class, like engaging like parts of my like core or abdomen
Mm.
that I was like, I don't have abs. And it's like, no, girl, you do. You just haven't engaged them in years. And
Yep.
so like even like driving my car, I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize these are muscles you're supposed to quote unquote be using. And I
Yeah.
realized how much I've compensated through the years
Yep.
that I just have lost mobility and movement on and never question it. And like I always give this example of I was 16 years old and I remember being in high school and kids would sit on the floor and at 16 that was hard for me to do. And I blamed it, of course, on my fat body. And I look back and I'm like, girl wasn't fat. My hips were tight. My hips were so tight
Yep.
that I couldn't cross my legs and that I couldn't sit on the floor crisscross applesauce. Like I always had to have my back against something. And I
Mm.
never put together, oh, your hips are tight. And
Yep.
so now, even in Pilates, like one of my favorite instructors, the owner of the practice I go to, she'll always come over to me and she'll be like, you're favoring this leg. And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that I was doing that. Like it's just
Oh.
so innate that it's so hard to unlearn when you've been doing something the same way, like for years. And so
Yes.
how to exit
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and I do think Pilates like does, at least for me, and it sounds like for you too, it like highlights those pieces of like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm favoring this, or I've noticed that too. Like there's certain things that we'll do, and I'm like, oh, I'm like doing it really differently on one side than the other. And it's
Yeah.
like not from a place of judgment. It's like observation. Oh, look what's happening here. Like look at how like this movement is like easier on one side versus the other. And it's like the what makes it easier or not, it to me it's around like, well, what am I normally doing, like what have I
Yeah.
conditioned my body to do, and like can I condition it differently?
Yeah, I have loved Pilates for so many different reasons, but I imagine as a dancer too, like I mean, I used to dance when I was a kid, but like there's a lot of dance and yoga like especially on the reformer, that's sort of just like mixed into it,
Hmm.
right? So it's like,
Yeah, it feels akin to it, but like in a much healthier way. It's like talk about a corrective experience, you know. I,
mm,
I feel like as a kid, I loved dance because I loved the music and I loved the expression and but of course the environment, like thinking back, that like was not a healthy or safe environment. It was competitive and like not just like competitive in performance, but competitive in like body and beauty and blah 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 blah, right? And
yeah,
in this environment, it's like I don't feel that at all. And I think part of it, I found a great studio. So like that's also something I would say to
yeah,
people is like find what sort of movement works for you and then find the environment that works for you too. Like this studio for me, it's like a lot of folks that are like, so I'm like an elder millennial, like right on the edge of Gen X. And the studio is a lot of people who are like baby boomers or older Gen X. And so like I'm one of the younger people there, which is like never my experience anymore.
yeah,
And not that I need to be, it's just like I feel like it's like some of that beauty, diet culture stuff, like it doesn't exist in the air because people have like kind of aged out of hating themselves
wow,
as much. You know, it's like, well, they're already older, so they're not fitting these like bullshit beauty standards already because of ageism and bullshit like that, right? So I feel like the environment is just more welcoming, more flexible, and to me, that's like exactly what I needed.
yeah, yeah. I
You know,
love
when we have like childhood stuff, it's like having elders around you who are like
that.
reasonable and safe feels very comforting.
I don't know why I've like in the Pilates, like in any of the classes I've been to, like I've never felt like I wasn't welcome because of my fat body. And
Same.
yes, I am constantly the fattest person in the room. There are things that like I just have a hard time with. Like one of the main moves, right, is the tabletop position,
Hmm.
and I can't always do it. And I had a teacher come over and was like, if you do this instead, you can still engage in the movement and still engage the muscles. And I was like, so cool that like no matter where you are, that like we can meet you where you're at.
Yes.
And I know that being the largest person in the class, being unable might make somebody feel some sort of way, that they wouldn't want to be a part of that experience.
Hmm.
But this is part of the discomfort that we talked about earlier of, can we tolerate that discomfort? Like,
Right.
can we
Right.
see and notice and say, ooh, my brain is telling me an old story. Does that still feel true?
Yes, I love that you're saying that because I normally when I'm in my Pilates studio, I'm honestly not even attending to other people. So like even noticing am I the fattest one in the room or not, which like old me, previous me,
Yeah.
of course I'm assessing that in every single environment I'm ever in.
Yeah.
And I don't normally do it in Pilates. And when I do, it's happened a couple of times, I catch myself doing it. I'm like, what is this about? And
Yeah.
like I say this to myself, like eyes back on you, Danica. So I
Mm,
like pull my vision, my energetic vision back in, and I'm like, what's happening for me? And of course, it's always an insecurity that's driving it. So something I'm
yeah.
feeling like some grief around, oh, I can't really do this movement. and
Oh,
and I don't like that. Okay, it's okay to not like that. And also
yeah.
it's not okay to like now take it out on yourself and also assess the room and potentially judge others as well. It's like actually, I'm just feeling insecure. Okay, well, I can tolerate the feeling of insecurity.
Oh, I love that so much. And I just posted in my stories the other day about like singing and how like I've been working on like my mix voice and like not being able to do it and being frustrated that I'm not able to do the thing that I know my brain is like, yeah, we just do this. But because I don't scapegoat my body in
Hmm.
that moment, it's just like, why can't I do this? I think the same thing can happen around movement,
Hmm.
but it's just so much easier to scapegoat your body
Yep.
because if you existed in a different size body at some point, it it makes sense in your brain like, ah, see, this is why it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so
It,
easy to go there. It can be like if you've gone there before, if your body's been a scapegoat before, it's easy to make it again. And I think, our work then becomes like, how do I not do that? How do I treat myself with love and kindness and acceptance, even when it's hard, even when I feel uncomfortable?
and I think that if you want to have a relationship with movement, you are going to have to get comfy with being uncomfy.
Yes. Yes.
It's
That's so true.
the whole thing. And that your body will get to know, like your body will tell you when
Yep.
something is unsafe. So I had gone to a Pilates class before this one, And it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. Like there it was too fast. She was not like, and the teacher was in a larger body, and so I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. It was not. It was not a great experience at
Mhm.
all. And so I can trust my body when the answer
Yep.
is like, yep, this ain't it. I wanted to share with my audience. I'll share it with you, and I'll probably cry. So when I think back through my movement journey, when I had joined the last gym before the pandemic, I, was body image with Brie already, and I had thought I healed a lot of my eating disorder and my disordered eating, and I, thought my relationship with movement was in a healthier place. Still was, didn't realize how much stuff was still there. But I remember when I joined the gym, I'd said to the trainer, I weight loss is not my goal, right? My goal is strength and mobility. And the trainer said to me, weight loss doesn't have to be your goal, but it's going to be my goal for you. And I remember being like, yeah, okay, whatever, right? Like just sort of dismissing that. And so, you know, in the year of our Lord and Savior, 2026, I don't always know where people fall in line with like body autonomy and, size inclusivity. And so going into a gym, going into any movement space that has historically been around centering, making your body smaller, my body remembers that. And
Yep.
so I ended up doing a collab with Superfit Hero. We'll link in the notes. I love Superfit Hero athleisure wear, and so I had asked my studio, could I record myself doing Pilates so I could do this? And they said yes. And so I made this reel, and so I just want to read what the owner of the practice said to me. She wrote this to me. She goes, "Hi, Brianna. I wanted to take a moment to reach out personally. Ooh, I'm made emotional and express my heartfelt gratitude for allowing me and my studio to be part of your journey. Your story has truly touched me and reminded me of the profound impact our experiences can have on others. The authenticity and vulnerability you shared are not just inspiring, they resonate deeply within me. I am genuinely proud and humbled to support you as you navigate your path. Your courage and dedication are remarkable. I have no doubt that your journey will inspire others. Cheers to you, Brianna. Thank you for being such an integral part of our community. I'm excited to witness your growth in Pilates and beyond."
How beautiful.
Like, what a different sentiment,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
from weight loss is going to be my goal for you to
Mhm.
thank you for showing up and being present.
Yeah, and it's like it just reminds me how important it is for us to do that not only for ourselves but for others too. Like to just be welcoming, affirming, open, seeing other people's value and worth and appreciating them and their journey. Like w- gosh, don't we just like yearn for this? We're aching for this in 2026. I feel like everyone is so like I don't know, motivate. It's like there's been this increase in like this motivation to shrink and like obviously we could talk about GLP-1s and like all the things that people are doing to like change their body in ways that are like not about engaging with body but separating body. So like for her to see you like that and to accept you and welcome you like that, like that's just such a beautiful offering and I'm so glad that she did that.
Thank you. Oh, you phrased that so beautifully of like engaging with body. And I think that's the somatic work that part of healing your body and your relationship to body image and movement is going to be the feeling into your body.
Yes.
And there will be times where it might feel unsafe. And especially if you have a history of trauma,
Hmm.
like your body's right, like it has historically been unsafe. And,
Hmm.
and so it's like, how do you recommend somebody who it's like, it just feels really unsafe to feel into their body, to be in their body? How do they begin this movement and somatic healing journey?
It's like slicing it as thin and as small as you can get it. It's like like sometimes it's not even about going to the body, but going to the periphery. Like, as I exist out here externally, like, is my body okay? And say, like, I'm sitting in my office right now talking to you. And so, I might feel an internal sense of unsafety because that's like a program in my body. But I'm looking around right now, like, am I actually unsafe in this room? And I'm not. Like, right here, right now, I'm safe enough. And sometimes
Ooh.
that's the place to start, like even going to a Pilates class, it's like I might feel afraid. I might be worried about how's my body going to do? Are people going to judge me? Well, even if someone judges me, am I unsafe? And like maybe, sure, there are times when people judge and there's
Yep.
discrimination and someone is in fact unsafe, but I think it's looking for the nuance in our lived experience and our day-to-day external environment so that we can access nuance internally. I might feel
Yeah.
unsafe, yet I'm not unsafe.
Ooh, yeah, that's so good. Yeah, and I think the other piece of that is that if it is an unsafe situation, you will be able to survive it. And that's the part like that the trauma work summed up is like that we are resourceful enough to handle even the worst case scenario. So if
Yep.
I could handle the comment from that trainer back then when I was not as healed as I thought I might have been, I can handle it now.
Yep.
Maybe not in the way that I want to, but I can handle it and I can tolerate it. I feel like it might be fun. Just like I don't know if you could well, we can rapid fire back and forth, but like where do you notice Pilates like make a difference for you? Like I can say like automatically walking up and down stairs.
Hmm.
What about
Yeah,
for
I have like a very concrete thing. I'm like doing some house construction stuff because like when you own a house, things just fall apart and you have to fix
Uh-huh.
them.
Yeah.
And so just this last couple of weeks, I've been like having to move furniture and pack stuff and
Mm,
carry heavy things. And I am like absolutely shocked at what I was able to do. And it was very notable because
wow.
just like probably a year ago, I was in a similar situation where I needed to move stuff around and carry stuff. And I like, there were many things I couldn't do and the
Yeah.
exhaustion after and the pain after. And that was like a big way I noticed.
Totally.
Mhm.
Even in the beginning when you lay on the reformer, like being able to get up to change the things,
Yep.
I couldn't do in the beginning. And
Yeah.
now I can sit up, no problem.
Yeah, I definitely noticed changes in Pilates too, for sure. Yeah, and like the getting up from laying down, that has become easier.
Yeah. Also for me, getting dressed, like the balance and the coordination of like I used to like have to like lean on something to get dressed, and now I'm like, oh, I can lift my leg up and put my pant on and not be like, oh, I'm falling over.
Hmm. I think like for me also like knee pain feels really different. I've always had knee
Oh,
issues. And like even as I sit here right now, I'm like, oh yeah, like my upper leg and my lower leg actually feel connected because my knee feels strong enough to like support both parts of my leg. And that feels new because that has not felt like that in a long time.
my ankles are stronger. I had a calf injury and I did PT and they were trying to strengthen the one foot, strengthening my entire body and my ankles. Like I walked through the airport with no problems. Like in the past, I would have had to stop, stretch, take breaks. Still had like some circulation issues, still had some plantar fasciitis, but like
Mhm.
it was a tolerable. I was like, yeah, I can do that, and I attribute it to the strength of my ankles.
Yes, yes.
It's probably the bar work, which I love. I love the little bar at the bottom.
Oh, me
Bar.
too. Yeah.
There's just so many things that have made like it's made a difference positively in my life. And so I love to find a fellow Pilates fan. And like I said, if you're ever in Jersey or I'm ever in Texas, we'll do a class together. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it would be fun.
What thought would you want to leave folks with today? Any thought, anything that feels
Hmm.
unfinished, what would you want to share with folks?
I would want to encourage folks to be curious about what their body is needing today. Like if you weren't influenced by the stories you've written about your body in the past or the stories you've been gifted from others, but if you just checked in today and you said, "What does my body need?"
Mhm.
and like really listen and hear the answer and
Like be
then
okay with it.
and
Like,
be okay with whatever it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
even if it's to rest or to not move.
Yeah,
And
especially if it's to rest.
oof, oof. And we can sit in that discomfort with you.
Hmm. Hmm.
I could talk to you forever. Share with folks how they can work with you, learn from you, give us all the good details, and we'll make sure it's included in the show notes.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all the various social media places at The Empowered Therapist. And that's where all my somatic and healing information and offerings are. Same website name, The Empowered Therapist. And then I also have, like I mentioned earlier, my group therapy practice. That's Empowered Healing Dallas. And there are 20 therapists on our team, and folks, many of the therapists on the team are able to see folks in like 42 or 43 states now.
Wow.
So, yeah, feel free to find us on social media or check out our website and would love for people to be in touch.
Amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. We'll make sure to include that all in the show notes. And thank you for the work that you do. I really appreciate you, and I'm so glad we've become good Instagram buddies.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for having me.
Hey, friend. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Body Grievers Club. Like all of our podcasting friends, we ask that you like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who you think needs to hear it. I know that body grief is tough, but I hope this episode helped you to feel less alone. To learn more about how you can shift your body grief to radical body acceptance, be sure to check out my free 7-step guide designed to help highlight how you can transform your body image story. You can also learn how to work with me inside of the show notes. Remember, my friends, your body grief is painful and real, but you are never alone, especially when you're part of the Body Grievers Club. Thank you for listening, and until next time.